You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Feeling good about your fantasy draft picks, but not sure what to eat? Make it easy on yourself. Order in on DoorDash. Now you can root for your squad while your food and drinks are on the way. Yes, that means burgers, chips, dips, soda, pizza, wings, and so much more, delivered straight to your door.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Oh, Chris Cody's late. Where's Chris Cody? Ooh.
He stepped out because he's helping. Stop.
I was helping
He's filling up water.
get caffeine so the show would be
not
better.
late. He also wasn't given 25 minutes to get water. He's just trying to keep the show moving.
Late.
He's not late.
Where have you been?
But you don't get to do that.
Well, you covered it up with he was helping, and he wasn't helping anybody. He was helping himself to some of the
He's helping by going as fast as he can.
the carbonated.
So were we.
Thank you, Mike.
We had to wander around. You don't know what it's like to wander around.
I don't
the
know. You're
garage.
right. I don't know what it's like to be late.
The story I was trying to tell before,
Man.
when we were at the
Never
Clevelander,
have to worry about being late.
I'm just a responsible man. What do I do?
We're only early.
the thing I was saying before about
and you're great at finding stuff too.
That I just stopped asking my wife at this point. I'm like, I'll whisk this with my finger at this point. I don't ask
Hell
her for
yeah.
anything anymore.
Dude.
Oh, I see what you did.
Yeah.
No, I was making cake better. Shit.
Yep.
jars, opening jars were useful there.
That's what we call it too. Carrying stuff.
I don't know what we're talking about.
You don't do any of these things? Carrying stuff, opening jars, yes, were not very useful for many other things. But what was pointed out to me about my blind spots at the Cleveland, I remember one time toward the end there when people were getting shot around there.
A blind spot of yours.
Yeah, well, listen. Listen to this blind spot. People are getting shot around there, and I ask our crew of dudes, hey, does this feel unsafe to you guys? And the answer was no. And all the women who were in the room said, yes, no, absolutely. It's totally unsafe to come into work here. To just walk into work is totally unsafe.
Pretty sure I also thought it was unsafe, Dan. Chris said the same thing here in the back. Nobody felt really safe with all that going on.
Well,
Allies.
Then a bunch of posturers at a table were telling me that
Tony.
I was asking that one. It was more than just Tony. It was a lot of people who didn't feel unsafe at the Clevelander.
We had to walk through the garage and then through like a back alleyway to get to
I missed
work.
that alley. I'm not going to lie. There was just something
smelled
about it.
Terrible.
It
was like where all the garbage. There would be like wet garbage water in the crevice of the path that went
How did
through
you
the
choose
alley.
to work there not knowing, like it looked like something different on television. You didn't think you were going to be coming through a urine-soaked garage through an alley.
This all seemed so different on television, Dan.
I mean, you came from New York. That's everywhere there.
Yeah, our piss alleyways are just the sidewalk. You get used to it. You don't expect it in Miami.
What happened with Caitlin Clark last night?
What didn't happen with Caitlin Clark? She broke the NCAA record for fastest women's basketball player to 3,000 points. She did it in, I believe, 110 games. This was against Iowa State. It was at Iowa State. Hilton's a very tough place to play. It's sold out, as do most of the games that the Iowa women's basketball team is on the road. She's just got this like marvelous effect to her. I believe she's the only player in history with over 3,000 points, 750 assists. There's a whole bunch of stats that I feel like they're making up new stats for her every day, because she's breaking records left and right. And honestly, not her best game. Not her best game.
Didn't they score like 65, but she had 37 of them?
She does that all the time. She does that all the time.
Is she projected to be a great in the WNBA?
Yeah, so she's the projected #1 overall pick. I'm really hopeful that the NIL money is good enough that she stays another year at Iowa, which she can. That would be the best thing that's ever happened to me. But she's said she's playing this last season as if it were her last. But that doesn't sound like an official yes to me.
Well, let me ask you this, right? Because Becky Hammond she just said to me, like, why does everyone assume I want to coach in the NBA? Like, why are you making that assumption? If the NIL money is going to change, and if women now in sports are realizing, wait a minute, holy shit, this is an economy, and we got a bigger number than the World Series. This is a star on par with all the other stars who we talk a lot about Caleb Williams. What about this one, though? Can NIL and Iowa say to Caitlin Clark, you know how much we value you? No. You'll make a lot more here as the economy for this giant thing, a lot more. You will make not a little more, a lot more than you will in the NBA. Why couldn't that be something?
In the W.
No, that is a thing. Angel Reese has already come out and said that. She's like, I'm not in any rush to get to the W. I'm making more money in college, and it's not a very high bar to reach. I don't think it's unfathomable at all that Iowa's NIL could make up that WNBA salary. I mean, even if you watched the game last night, when it wasn't on Caitlin, it was on the State Farm commercials with Caitlin in it. Like, she's making so much money, and I'm so happy for her, and she deserves every single penny.
I do think that this argument, though, happens and people forget that, like, a lot of the big stars in the WNBA also have huge endorsement deals, whether it's with Nike or other huge brands. So it's not like you can't make NIL deals once you're out of college. I see like college players' NIL deals get compared to WNBA salaries, which are lower than you would hope for that league, but something that I think will probably change after their next television deal. But the stars playing in the WNBA still are making endorsement deals and still are doing commercials. I think there is a legitimate argument to be made about like the economy around promoting women's college basketball versus the WNBA. And I think in the last like year or so, women's college basketball has gotten more of like a excitement around it and like more eyeballs on it. Not saying the W hasn't, but I think like the WNBA could improve there. So it's not like you can make a one-for-one comparison. Like there are WNBA stars, we don't know how much money they're making, but they're making a lot of money doing commercials for things.
I picked up on women's college basketball fairly recently, and I am not at all interested in making the jump to the WNBA. I don't know if that's because I don't have a local team, but I just favor the college game right now as I make room and fanned with to experience all these things. I quite enjoy women's college basketball, and to me it feels like a much bigger deal, and I don't know why the marketing is so much better as I feel as just a casual observer on these things. It feels...
Well, the energy is crazy.
The energy is great around... I guess the WNBA that I've seen, and I've seen some good crowds and some good stories, but every time that I have given the WNBA a chance, the environments seem a little antiseptic, and with women's college basketball, when I've watched, it seems like a really interesting crowd that's super into the game, and it's just more of a fun watch for me.
I think maybe there's like something for people who already have like a college allegiance, being able to like easily hop on a bandwagon of a team that maybe they went to school there or they're a fan of that team, and maybe if you haven't been watching the WNBA, you find it like harder to figure out who to root for and stuff. But the WNBA is doing very well in terms of like crowd engagement. Like the Liberty has one of the best arena environments in the WNBA, and they made a really deep playoff run. They played in the championship this year and had tens of thousands of fans there, and like it's known for its atmosphere. So I don't think like you can say blanket that like college basketball is like doing. I don't even think that there's much value in pitting them against one another either. My point is just that like if you're talking about like an athlete staying an extra year in women's basketball versus going to the WNBA and maybe their salary is not as high as you would hope, like you're seeing that in college football too. You're seeing that with players like in later round draft picks that are going to stay in NCAA football instead of going to the NFL and being maybe like a low earner compared to a first rounder where you could make seven figures just staying in college football.
I think the big thing isn't even like, oh, are they going to get a brand deal? It's can these university collectives match that salary? Because Caitlin's going to have brand deals wherever she goes. She's the most recognizable face in all of college sports, I believe, at this point. So she'll always have that State Farm money. I think it's about is the University of Iowa collective willing to make up enough difference with the WNBA salary compared to what she could get from them. It's also a weird thing where like Caitlin's in a very weird position where she's not a normal college student and you don't really know if she's enjoying that experience. It's awesome to see this grow at any level just because we've seen so much of a rise in women's college basketball that I think it's going to translate to the WNBA where you feel like for the first time fans are getting to know Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Paige Beckers. They'll eventually have to go to the W and the fans will follow with. I will follow Caitlin till the end of the earth.
I think it is the branding because I've also noticed that I don't really follow the NWSL, but I do follow the Super League abroad. And what those clubs have that the NWSL doesn't is they're part of these clubs that have had men's teams in some cases for over 100 years. I watch Chelsea Women's Club because I'm a fan of Chelsea, and I lean into that branding. And when you watch the Champions League, you see Real Madrid, who just bought another club and just provided they had the infrastructure. They didn't have to build it. They could just microwave a women's team. So I do think the branding with women's college basketball versus the WNBA is an important factor.
A lot of people bring us documentaries at Meadowlark, whether it's Martina Navratilova or Diana Taurasi, or the things that have to happen or had to happen through the 70s when you didn't have any women doing any of this. Does Caitlin Clark understand the size of the power she presently has and leverage, given that we're headed to the TV contracts and given that everyone realizes that the viewership there are oil wells around women's basketball that has a fervor that makes Caitlin Clark a very valuable college commodity? She can make her own economy right now that is giant, however she wants to do it, to her specifications, because she's that kind of star.
She's already doing that. I mean, the brand deal she has, she's partnered with Nike, she's with State Farm, she's with Bose. Like, she's built this entire economy and then actually just kind of poured it into the Iowa women's basketball team in the sense that, like, you see a crazy jump whenever Iowa is in town because people want to see Caitlin Clark. And I think she's brilliant. I think she's perfect. I don't think she's ever made a mistake ever. And if she leaves Iowa early, I will commit a crime.
So she's not just a girl.
She is not just a girl.
Folks, listen up. US Cellular wants to help everyone get the gift of connection this holiday season. Already a customer? This applies to you too, because right now, new and current customers can get any phone, and I mean any phone, for free. Yes, free. Sounds like it's time to make the switch. Spread the holiday cheer far and wide this season with a new phone. Everyone can get the gift of connection at US Cellular. Get any phone free today. US Cellular, built for us. Terms apply. Visit uscellular.com for details.
For all their contributions to society, the modern blue-collar worker remains undervalued. From the stereotypes they receive to the clunky work boots or stiff apparel designed by people who have never worked a trade job a day in their lives. That's why Brunt Workwear was created by workers for workers. Brunt is a brand transforming workwear. Brunt understands that when you're on the job, you need gear that can keep up with you. Blue-collar workers often require sturdy and durable work boots to protect their feet and provide comfort during long hours of labor-intensive work. That's why Brunt designed their boots and apparel with and for real workers to be durable, comfortable, and ready for anything. Workers like them are the backbone of this country, and they deserve better. Brunt makes the most comfortable and durable boots you'll ever try. You deserve high-quality gear at the best possible price. Try Brunt risk-free with a 30-day on-the-job trial and free shipping and returns. Use code GBF for $10 off your first order at bruntworkwear.com/GBF. That's BRUNT workwear.com/GBF.
Don Le Batard.
During one long evening at the Burtons, Robert sent their guests Tennessee Williams and director Joseph Losey running for the door when, in Burton's words, she insulted Rex. She's talking about Rex Harrison. Rex sexually, morally, physically, lay on the floor in the bar and bark like a dog, started to masturbate her basset hound.
Oh, Jesus Christ. What's happening?
No. There's also another one. This is the book, and I'm like, how do I, because to Mike's point, he has to know I read the book. Well, okay, listen, I highlighted this part, so I read it.
Stugotz.
Have you ever met Mike before today?
No, first meeting.
So your thing is, in the first 5 minutes, let's talk about dog masturbation and giraffe.
Because I knew he would be able to relate to the subject matter. He would know what it's
How
like.
so?
Because he's a guest on the show, and the guy's trying to impress him. He goes, okay, what's going to go with? So I figured masturbating a basset hound was definitely something he could at least appreciate.
Weird assumption to make.
Was he right or wrong?
I'm gonna say he was wrong.
Oh.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Do you think you're going to flub this?
There's a very good chance.
I think you're going to flub this. I hope you don't.
I could tell Chris Cody.
Oh, no! Taylor, this is your big shot, buddy. Come on, don't ruin it. Yes. You speak with confidence. I've seen you take out Mac Brown before on stand-up videos. That's a teleprompter? Don't give away the trade secrets, Taylor. You got this. This is your big debut in earnest, all right? We're going to you. We're trusting you as an on-air talent. So Just know that if you flub a line here, I will never go to you again.
All right. This is horrible. What has just happened here, and I don't know if we were rolling on that. I hope that we were.
Oh, it's all on air.
All right. But
so he's already flubbed.
Let me explain to you what is happening here so that people can get an inside look at how this shitty sausage is made. I am roaming around what I like to call eating area.
Grazing.
I am, yes, I'm grazing, just like my father used to do when we were little, except he did it in just his underwear, white tighty whities. He would just graze around the kitchen.
It's a different time.
Damn it, I long for that time where I can just be in my underwear grazing in my own corporate kitchen without being bothered by anybody. Like this young man, Taylor.
At work he did that, your dad?
No, not at work, but he brought his work home. And what has happened to me here today is as I'm coming in here, ready to start my segment, a very eager Taylor, I don't know if there's any other kind, a very eager Taylor has a stat of the day for me, even though I heard Mike bark at somebody yelling earlier, you guys deal with that tomorrow. That's tomorrow's shit. I'm not here tomorrow. Someone else can deal with that shit. And
Daddy's getting some me time.
So everyone scurried away because Mike Ryan is a tyrant. The content needs to be made. And you can't be late to the elevator, otherwise you get caught in Basel Labyrinth. Have you guys enjoyed the traffic this week, Jessica and Lucy? New York has descended upon the entirety of this town. Have you enjoyed the chaos that is an already oversaturated Miami now being oversaturated with money and art?
Dan, I have been meaning to talk about this on the show. People from Miami, and they're not wrong, they act like if you're out in a car on the roads after like 3:30 p.m. when the Art Basel traffic starts, it turns into the Purge. People are like, sorry, Chris Cody, why did you have to say that while I was talking? He just said the building's farting, and now it's the only thing I can think about.
Maybe they're trying to make the building look nice for Art Basel, but there is a lot of construction.
But people are like,
right
what are you doing this weekend? You got to be back by 4 o'clock or else you're going to get stuck in the Art Basel. I went to lunch the other day in the design district. That was a mistake. Oh my God. There were the line at Pura Vida out the effing door around the block, and all people in like designer hypebeast clothes. It was ridiculous.
Can you guys explain me?
I just want a smoothie.
Is Pura Vida, is that that is also in New York, or is that just where is that? Because everyone who comes to town can't believe how fresh that food is, and I don't understand why other people aren't also making fresh food. Like, how is everything else? Like, the reason that line is that long is because there's so many of them popping up all over Miami.
Fresh food is definitely unique to Miami, Dan. Just kidding. No, it actually is. There is nothing like Pura Vida anywhere else. It is my favorite place. I eat there every day. And the building just ripped ass mid-sentence there.
That is the jackhammer. Let's get back on track here. We were going into the other room because I want to set it up for the audience. Taylor has been, everyone in the other room, except for a few noble women out there who don't want to be bothering us with screen time.
You don't want to keep it in here for maybe just one more minute? Let the kids sweat it out.
He does seem a little scared. Okay, yes, let's talk about what your experience with Taylor has been so far.
Oh, yeah, I love Taylor. I went to Chapel Hill, and it was like an alternate universe where Taylor was the central character. And like I met Taylor at a bar. I think he picked it because there is a framed jersey of Taylor's at this bar.
Was it called Walk-Ons?
But it was like it was not to toot my own horn, but my experience...
That's a badge of courage, walking on a football team.
This is a good joke.
My experience at Hurricanes events is very BMOC because, I'm associated with the brand, not according to Big Game Boomer. But Taylor is like that, but times 10.
Jessica said she went to a game, Notre Dame with you, and you were big man on campus, she said.
Oh, 100%. We went to the basketball game, and Mike Ryan was walking around, shaking hands, kissing babies. He's like, which bowl we're going to? They're like, we're going to the Pinstripe Bowl. He was just walking around. He knew everything.
That one's for free, Jess.
Yep, everything that was going on. Everyone loved Mike. They waved to him. The players, after they would like make a three, they'd turn and they wave, and they'd be like, what up, Mike?
Yeah, that one was for you.
That can't be true.
For you. I'm like, wooga.
During all the breaks, like the commercial breaks, they just put the camera on him on the video board, just on Mike.
I've asked
and everyone started standing up and clapping. It was so weird. Every break.
They embarrassed me a little bit. But Taylor has this
Coach L kissed him on the lips.
Yes. It's very soft, supple. Taylor has built out this identity for him, and I don't know how much you follow UNC football, but Taylor is like the go-to guy when it comes to UNC football. And when it comes time to chastise Mac Brown and maybe call for his firing, he'll deliver this take like Skip Bayless into a camera. It's a confidence that I'm not used to, but I am used to Taylor coming up to me and just talking my ear off about UNC football. Like, I will start my week and he will come up to me. First things that he says is, Mike, did you hear that Cedric Gray did the bench press like 24 times? I'm like, who is that? Like, he lives, breathes UNC athletics. So with all that being said, have we given him enough time to sweat for his debut on the stat of the day?
I just want to remind him before he goes that he's not on Big Game Boomer's list. So maybe this will get you to the list next year. It's not easy. It's very prestigious. We'll see if Taylor can do it.
It's also pretty pathetic to, hijack segments and put your own team in them like that. It's really lame, and I just don't think it's right.
I like this idea of like we're kind of doing the double dutch thing with jump rope where he's out there waiting to get in, but we haven't really thrown it to him yet. So he's just got this awkward feeling of like, am I supposed to talk now?
No, he's got it. No, okay. So here, let me. I'm going to give the pressure.
We're going to go to you in a second.
Since the pressure isn't quite high enough yet on this, I'd like to escalate it even more. Because what I'd now like to do is punctuate the segment with Taylor coming in here and sitting in my seat and giving either his choice of stat of the day or the Mac Brown take that allows him to cut past Lucy to the front of the line on this list because he's giving the take that goes all over the place because he's the man in North Carolina and Mac Brown needs to know what's what.
Taylor, what's your preference? Would you like to deliver stat of the day or would you prefer to take out Mac Brown?
Stat of the day.
You would prefer? Okay, let's have him take out Mac Brown instead.
Okay, but how about in my seat? How about?
I did just wire that route there.
I think what he really needs is a few paragraphs of just regular talk before we make him like do the stat. Maybe we have him just talk about the linebacker depth at UNC for a good 20 seconds.
It's not that good.
Okay, there you go.
Nobody behind Cedric Gray and Power Eccles.
Taylor has been coming in dressed casually because this is a relaxed environment, and he wasn't expecting to be on camera this long. And now he's looking like he is.
Get his camera ready, though.
Ready?
He's a handsome man.
Yes. So, Taylor, are you ready? This is your big debut.
What are you, Italian? I don't understand.
Yep. Stat of the day.
Little Jason Kidd effect.
Great hairline.
You seem a little. Are you okay? Is everything okay? Because there's a lot of there's presently a lot of
turn less red.
You know what I mean, Jess. Everybody does.
There is presently a lot of pressure being put on you.
As long as he's not Sicilian.
Do you have the stat of the day?
Are you Sicilian? Oh God.
The stat of the day song ready? Do you have it ready?
I do.
Are you going to do one stat or three, Taylor?
You should do three, Taylor.
I'll do three.
Okay.
This is like a bullpen out here. I'm always ready to give you one inning.
Good sentence.
I'm gonna play the.
Way to go, Taylor.
I'm gonna play the set of the day open in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and a half.
Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day.
Doesn't know when to start talking.
The Green Bay Packers.
Stat of the day is brought to you by Venmo. Your money, your move.
I feel like a kicker frozen with the timeout.
Come on. What do you mean frozen? You just left the field the way the Titans punter did. What do you stepped on the sponsor? It's like Rule 101. That's not where you start. And you wait for my dad's laugh. Have some respect.
The Green Bay Packers are 16-0 under Matt LaFleur in December. They haven't lost a game in December since 2018 against Mitch Trubisky and the Chicago Bears.
Jessica gave you a wow.
Wow. Well delivered stat, Taylor.
Make him give another one.
All right, give another one.
What a pro.
He moving on my rate. He just passed Vodka Don or whatever that guy's name was.
This one's for Lucy. Iowa's Tory Taylor is just 19 yards away from breaking Johnny Pingle's single season.
Johnny
I got cocky.
Johnny
He did. He
Pringle.
shouted out Lucy before it, like, "Hey, this one's for you."
Got too cocky.
All right. You want
We were all rooting for you.
Yeah.
All right. Let's try it again. You want to start from
I
the
should have
beginning?
picked a shorter stat. Iowa's Tory Taylor is just 19 yards away from breaking Johnny Pingle's single-season punting yards record of 4,138.
Play to the cam, kid. Play to the cam.
I see where he tripped up. Pingle single. That's
Pingle
tough.
single, yeah.
No pressure, but there's only 45 seconds left.
Yes. And how long has that record stood?
1938.
Cam, kid. Hard cam.
Less us.
35 seconds left. Do you think you can hit the dismount? 35
this last
seconds
one's the
left.
longest one. Against the Celtics, Tyrese Halliburton recorded a 26, 10, and 13 triple-double. This stat line, or better, with 0 turnovers, has only occurred 7 other times before in NBA history. Nikola Jokic has done it twice in the past week.
7's a lot.
All right, you have 15 seconds to fire Mac Brown.
I think his time has passed. We've reached a peak.
Like on Earth or?
No, as a coach.
Good job, Taylor. Taylor, good job,
Yeah.
Taylor.
A first take. Ladies and gentlemen, a legitimate first take.
I can't believe I messed up.
Don Le Batard.
Number 3, Chick-fil-A waffle fries.
Yeah, we can get mine.
Love it.
Nah, I think it's an overrated fry.
You guys go ketchup or Chick-fil-A sauce when you have the Chick-fil-A fry?
Polynesian sauce.
Polynesian, baby.
wow.
That's my brother right there. Good call.
You're my brother.
Stugotz.
Oh my God.
What a weird interaction.
Wow.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
I will ask for the audience's patience again and again on when it is that I get to yammering. I know that I can be manic lately, and there are a lot of things bouncing around in my head that alter my focus and make me talk too much. But I want you guys to tell me how I should feel about what I believe to be a changing intersection at quarterback, coaching, generational differences between football coaches and players, and generational differences between athletes and media. When Draymond Green says new media, it's not just athletes grabbing at the platform. They want their perspective heard. Derek Jeter tried in starting the Players Tribune. Those people now work for our company. Some of the people that created the Players Tribune, they were trying to get the athlete's viewpoint out there in a newspaper or internet type of...
London was born a rambling man, talking to guests and doing the best he can. But when it's time for greed feeding, no one understands. Why, like Dan the rambling man. Well, he's talking about discomfort in California as he tries to introduce us to all the smoke. But he's taking 4 minutes to get to the point. Mike wants him to bring it home. London was born a rambling man, talking to guests and doing the best he can. But when it's time for grief feeding, no one understands. Why, like Dan the rambling man.
That's wonderful. I can't believe you guys made that so fast. I thought Taylor was the best we could do. But I mean, I was just talking about it. For it to come up right there when I was actually rambling. For you guys to make that music that quickly. I wish Meadowlark was always that fast.
It's called producing, Dano.
I've been demanding it of Mike. Jeremy, you might win a lot more Emmys. I've been demanding that speed from Mike for a long time now. Get me a song in the middle of my rambling point.
Emmys. We're talking about Grammys here. That was a sensation.
EGOT in line.
Early. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh. Early Suey nomination, I think, for Best Song right there. Front runner.
I'll make it quicker. Zach Wilson, seen as a quitter because Diana Rossini reported it. That in his locker room at his age doesn't seem worth it at any age to keep going back out there.
You're also not including the context that's very helpful of what his face looks like, because that's not helping.
They don't like him.
What do you mean? Like, he's got
His
a little
face.
baby face?
No, his face. It just doesn't help. And all that Zach Wilson is. And you saw how the locker room turned against him when he answered questions improperly, I guess, last season. It cost him his job to Mike White. And I do understand where Aaron Rodgers was coming from in criticizing the nature of the league, but Diana Rossini is a very reputable reporter. So someone in that organization or some people in that organization feel like this is so, that Zach Wilson did not want to assume starting duties once again, which is terrible in that sport. It's just a tough look in the locker room.
Whose face could we have replaced his face with that we'd feel better about him with?
None.
It's a punchable face. But what I'm asking, I felt like Aaron Rodgers confirmed that the report was true by turning on his organization. Like, I thought that was just confirmation. Now, I understood Aaron Rodgers' point after that. Like, what kind of, and this isn't directed at Diana Rossini. She's exceptional at her job. But I understand how Aaron Rodgers would look at that and say, what kind of parasite profits off of wrecking this kid in a culture where the carnivores are going to eat him? They're going to eat him. It's already a bad job, Jets quarterback. But this particular guy, under the pressures that I wouldn't want a young person I cared about under. I would not want the pressure of New York on my kid if my kid was Zach Wilson. Like, football's culture is not equipped, and the media is not going to be respectful or kind enough to actually care at all about, let's just say, Zach Wilson's mental health.
Let's give it up for the Jets here. I think we got to give it up for the Jets. Thought they were playing for a Super Bowl this year with Aaron Rodgers. Now have probably the most mismanaged quarterback room in the NFL between not trying to replace Aaron Rodgers, starting Zach Wilson, benching Zach Wilson, wanting to start Zach Wilson again. Like, absolute disaster in management from them, in my opinion.
But I find this part fascinating as Browning on Monday night shows up, and they're so unscientific that they don't know how to evaluate these quarterbacks. And Tim Boyle, worst for 3 years, is one of their starters because after being the worst quarterback in college football for 3 years. Man, do you understand when they talk about winning and losing organizations? And Stugotz is going to have Joe Beningo on God Bless Football, the guy who was texting back and forth with Robert Saleh. Do you guys realize the space that we're in with some of this stuff where you've got... I think you should play the Rambling Man song again because I've lost my way and it's in my head.
You're doing great. I just don't understand what we're doing. I mean, Zach Wilson is a 24-year-old man.
Well, but he doesn't look like it in that picture.
So that's what you're doing.
Yes, he doesn't look like it in the picture.
Same age as Trevor Lawrence.
Yes, but
who's been in our lives for like a decade, it feels.
I feel bad for him because the mentality of I don't want to play with these guys makes you sound like a coward and quitter. So Diana Rossini is reporting what I believe to be the truth of the story in the organization. But if they think he's a coward and quitter, and she's just reporting the truth, you've just done something to Zach Wilson that Aaron Rodgers is objecting to as an organization. And if I put Zach Wilson in San Francisco, what do you think it would look like? Maybe it would look terrible too. Maybe it would look like Trey Lance. But this is what losing organizations do. Because now Saleh's got to cover his ass. He's the one in the toothpaste commercials. Like, he's got to cover his ass on, well, this isn't my fault. It's not my fault that the quarterback can't play. The general manager before me got him. This isn't on me. It's on somebody else. And all of that pressure goes to bed at night with Zach Wilson. That's the pressure of the position. And maybe he's equipped for it, but I wouldn't have been at 24. And I don't think many people at 24 would be. Like, I would not have been equipped for that at 24 years old. The hell that is raining down on his head where Joe Namath and everyone else are just ready for him to be terrible at quarterback and then jump on his neck.
Well, it's awful for the kid, but it also, I think this example shows how flimsy all of this really is with organizations and who we give credit to in terms of, you know, you look at the Patriots and you considered them this great organization for all of these years, and something like this, where the Jets were considered to be Super Bowl favorites, would have been one of the very best teams in the league had Aaron Rodgers been healthy. Boom. The moment that he's gone, they're the worst quarterback room. They don't know how to manage anything. They're an incompetent organization. You look over at the Patriots in division, and you see somewhat of the same thing. The moment that Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time, is gone, Belichick looks like he doesn't know how to run an organization. And it just shows really how all of this is so minuscule and really just comes down to, do you have a Hall of Fame quarterback or do you not have a Hall of Fame quarterback?
You look ridiculous.
I love quarterback analysis coming seriously from under there. I wish it had more analytics in it. Like, I want that character to be a super serious character instead of being the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, a little too happy, a little too joyous. I want all your thoughts on the journalism of this as an Emmy winner. Like,
London was born a rambling man.
Here's a question. Who in the room wouldn't be reluctant to play quarterback for the Jets? For real? I mean, come on.
I mean, it seems like Aaron Rodgers is the only guy that's dying to get out there. It's just
Everyone's
odd.
like, I'm good. I don't think. I mean, he's not going to play for the Jets next year, right? What does he actually benefit from starting the next few games?
Didn't RG3 want to be the starter?
RG3 definitely wants to be
there's
your
two
starter.
people. There's two people.
It's almost like the kids who sit out for NIL purposes deciding like, all right, I'm going to sit out the rest of this season, not risk an injury because I think I can get more money by not coming back and playing hurt and having like a bad last few games. Leave on a high. Zach Wilson, this isn't necessarily a high, but it can only continue to get worse.
Because, look, he's got to worry about a career. I'm going to say something right now
As
that
a
may shock you. I'm going to say something right now that may shock you. I don't think Zach Wilson's a QB1. What? Okay? I don't. But there is a nice little career for QB2s in this league.
He was not supposed to be QB1 this year. He was QB2.
Well,
That's
I think,
why they kept him
well,
to be the backup.
What a QB2 needs to do is be ready at a moment's notice. And if you have a guy that you are considering as your QB2 when he hits the open market, this is data. That's an important data point. A guy that doesn't want to go out there on the field, reportedly.
He did say it was absolutely not true. Worth noting.
I feel like he's got XFL written all over him.
It's no longer the X. We can talk about it another day.
Can I just examine for a second?
Wait, what happened to the XFL?
It looks like it's you. It's just terrible branding play. The UFL already failed, and the XFL has been a massive success each of the 3 times it's tried to
Good,
be
we can
one.
get rid of that godforsaken photo of me now.
Now it's the XFL.
She's right. Former.
I mean, if you want to talk about it, I'm very excited about the merger and the fact that several XFL teams are no longer going to exist, and they just hit pause on it, but we actually get to see. You guys aren't interested.
I wanted...
Hakeem Butler just signed a letter of intent to go back to the Battlehawks. It's a big deal.
I wanted to talk about how the Jets have ruined Zach Wilson and how organizationally you have to reach in and support someone at that position of this age.
They supported him plenty.
Mike.
How many games did Rob Saleh have to answer the question, he's our starter, he actually played kind of well? How many times did he lie through his teeth? Like 5 different times? At least.
I'm not saying he's good at football. We have no evidence that he's good at football. But what I'm saying is to be bad at football is to be chewed up by that culture of football and the reporting around it in a way that would fall on anybody's head and make it very hard to overcome when you're playing poorly. They've ruined Zach Wilson. Now you can come out, you can say, I never thought he was QB1. Fair enough.
No, I mean, he had potential. Like, it's not like Tim Boyle. We've seen Zach Wilson be good at football before. I'll push back at that notion. He was good at football. Well, he was pretty good in that Chiefs game.
A lot of people would have drafted him because he had the quarterback talents. And what I'm saying
he went
is
number 2 overall.
Everything that's happened since then has not lived in support of that. Once you start losing and everyone goes for ass covering, once you start losing and you have an organization that has failed for 40 years, the culture of it ends up...
was born a rambling man, talking to guests and doing the best he can. But when it's time for greed feeding, no one understands why, like Dan the rambling man, well, he's talking about discomfort.